Hello, I'm Barbara Shaw and this is the badger which I've been working on, which I think is now finished. Here are some of the fabrics I've used in the picture, and you'll see that I've chosen some sheer fabric. So this one was really good for shading and giving the badger some sort of sense of fur. Then this one I used down the side of his legs, again to suggest furry bits. This one I've used both sides to get an impression of black but with hints of light in it as well, so that's why I've used the reverse side. Then this little piece here I've used on his nose. I've cut a circle out for his nose. For his eyes, as well as black sparkles, I've used this red fabric as well, and this lace has come in handy for the texture on his coat. This was a little white dot was the centre of his eyes before the sparkle went on. This old scarf, again, was very useful for getting the different markings on his coat. And I've used some of this plum organza just in small amounts for shading. This sequined fabric I've cut with the lines in it directionally so that again it can go on his coat. Then for his face I've not just used white, I've used silver as well, and there are little dots of lace in there too. This sparkly one is around his face and in his tail. Then this black one again gave some texture to his coat, and this skull fabric I've used both sides of that for suggesting the white around his face as well as in his tail. I've also chosen navies as well as black so that there's some contrast in his colours, otherwise the black on its own is much too dark and you don't get an impression of fur. For his toes, his claws, I've used a piece of this cut on the cross, and you can see how I've built up the layers. This is another little piece that was really useful because of the marks on it. So that just gives you an idea of some of the fabrics which I've used. Going back to the badger picture, you'll be able to spot some of the fabrics I've used if I go in closer. So there's the lace and the skull fabric. That's the sequined piece there. You can see his nose where I've used that little bit of blue. And the black fabric, there's lace there and silvery hints. And you can see how it's built up and stitched together using grey thread and running stitch.